Hey everybody, my name is Jim Farmer. I'm the Festival Director of Valid Film. Thanks for joining us today. This is our 34th year of presenting stories for, by, and about our community and its allies. This, however, is our first year as a hybrid festival. We have films in theater and we also have films virtual as well. And as always, we have a lot of great short films and we have some local shorts this year that are absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of this program and getting to share it with the community here. I think everybody's going to really enjoy it. So we have a number of filmmakers today. I'm going to let them start introducing themselves and their films, and then we're going to ask a few questions. So Jono, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm Jono Mitchell. I am the producer and star of the short film If I'm Good, about a widower who is exploring his attraction to a younger man shortly after his husband passes away.
Great.
Hi, I'm Patrick Shetta. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. My film is Reverend Falls. It is about a famous reverend who has decided to come out in his own way. So he seeks the advice of another couple who has gone through it already to kind of just discuss it with them.
Great. Quinn, you want to go next?
Oh, sure. I'll go next. Hi, everybody. My name's Quinn O'reer. I'm the writer-director of Over My Dead Body, which is about a drag queen that sneaks into a funeral home to pay last respects to her drag mother, who's being buried as a man against her dying wishes. It's a comedy drama, and yeah, we're really excited to be showing it here in Atlanta.
Great. Thanks. Maya or John?
Hey everyone, my name is Maya. I'm the writer and director for The Traveler, and it is sort of a road trip film about a girl that is on the way to Arizona to see her father, and her car breaks down, and she ends up meeting someone that that has more similarities than she realizes.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
I love that you're on theme. You said road trip in the car. Love it. Hey, everybody. My name is Kate X. I am the writer, producer, and actor in a film called Pink and Blue. It follows a trans couple of color, they're Black and Filipinx, as they navigate unexpected pregnancy for the first time and also trying to raise a child in a binary world that we all live in, but gender-free.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Johnny Kilberg. I have a film called Vestirse, which in Spanish means to get dressed. And it is a story about a non-binary individual, starring myself, trying to meet their mother in the outfit they wish to wear. It is a very personal piece, and I'm very excited that it's here in this program. Thanks for having us.
We're excited about all these films. This is a kick-ass program. I'm so excited to share this. So moving forward, why don't we just, when I ask questions, why don't we sort of keep the same format so we'll sort of keep the same chain of how we did this before. So I guess the next question is sort of a three-pronged question. How long did it take to make your film? When did you film it? And where did you film?
So If I'm Good, we shot over 2 days in Atlanta.
Okay.
Last October.
Wow.
So we wanted to sort of design something that was friendly in a post-COVID world, that we could film, with a small crew, a small cast, and still have the same emotional resonance of something that, we were operating with on a bigger scale.
Okay. Thank you.
For Reverend Falls, we filmed it January 2020. Yeah, that's right. The interiors were filmed Fulton Street, just north of the old stadium. Exterior is Inman Park, the butterfly wall. And I think that's about it.
Okay, thanks.
Right, so Over My Dead Body, we filmed over the course of 2 days in East Peoria, Illinois. My husband and I have lived in Atlanta for now 3.5 years, but we found ourselves in Illinois for the summer of 2020. And this was an idea that we had kicked around for a long time, probably at least 2 or 3 years. And we finally had the moment of realization that we should just film this thing while we have some free time on our hands. And that would have been in August of 2020. So it's been a long time coming. I spent a long time in post, I found.
Thank you.
Hey, we did The Traveler over the course of 4 days in Monroe, Georgia. It's actually my thesis film for SCAD, and I believe I wrote it a month prior. So it was a very quick process for us.
Thank you.
Pink and Blue was filmed over 2 days, November 2020. I'd been workshopping it for like a year and a half with the cast and maybe half a year with the director. It's kind of, time is a blur. But we filmed it in Brooklyn, New York, and I've been living here since the panini began, as we say in New York.
This is true. It is called the panini. We filmed this in a day, one day, September of 2020, with 3 people in the room, myself, a DP, and an AD. And we filmed it in Brooklyn to be close to my mother, who wanted to be a producer and a part of this film because, you know, it was important to her as much to me. So that's where we filmed it. And just, yeah, I still can't believe we did it in a day.
Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. Same order. Was there any particular inspiration for your film? I mean, all of these films seem like they come from a very personal place. I just want to see if there were any specific inspirations.
So I act once a year, and I try to act in something that scares me, something that I feel like is an area that I'm uncomfortable with.
Sure.
And I went to Madison and I said, I want to be in something like Normal People. Because I really loved that show at the time. And I was like, yeah, but make it like super gay and like hopefully like originally I was like, I want the husband who dies to be older. Like I want to explore this idea of like an older couple, like a younger man with an older man. And then with COVID, I was like, I don't want to kiss a stranger on screen. I'll just have my normal husband play my dead husband. That will be fine. That won't traumatize me at all. And yeah, so when I went to her and asked for that, that was the whole purpose, was just to do something that scared me.
Okay, great.
The inspiration for mine, a little different. So one thing that I have enjoyed in the past is watching religious debates. I mean, don't we all, right? And I made an observation that at best, it'll be a draw if you maybe come down to terminology semantics. But in general, the atheist side tends to really dominate with their logic. So I said to myself, what if there was a guy who was on the theist side who could dominate the atheists? That was the inspiration for it. I originally thought of making a feature out of it, except then I would have to show how they do that. And I said, I'm not tackling that at all. We're just going to go with it and say, he does it and we'll believe him. So that was really the core inspiration of it.
Okay.
For ours, I have to give Dustin most of the credit. And by most of the credit, I mean just about all of it, because he actually pitched the idea of the movie to me in probably 2017, I want to say. But my own personal entry point into this idea of a drag queen saying goodbye to her mentor was, I grew up with a lot of death in my family. And I, from a young age, remember going to funerals. And actually, more interesting than the funerals at a young age, I was taken by the planning of the funeral and what music is going to represent this person. Family arguments about the music, right? And I just thought, how silly does all this feel, and how artificial does so much of this feel? And it, draws attention to the fact that none of us really have control over how we're remembered when we die. And I wanted to explore a character who enters as a victim and realizes that she's actually a living monument for the person who's passed, and finds some pride in that. So that was really what guided the writing and eventually filming of it. Oops.
For The Traveler, I really wanted to focus on a project that that followed the theme of meeting somebody for a reason, season, or a lifetime, or reason, season, reason, season, or a lifetime. And in this particular film, the characters are meeting each other for a reason, and they both have something that the other person is lacking, and they're going through parallel scenarios. I also wanted to have a film that involved queer characters, but it wasn't focused on that necessarily. And it's like, if you know, you know. If you're paying attention to the connections between the characters, like, you'll figure it out from there. If not, that's not what the project's about. And I just kind of wanted to challenge myself with these ideas and just see what I could do with it while it being a road trip.
Okay.
Pink and Blue was inspired by a few things, namely, I don't know, there was like a slew of articles of young trans youth of color committing suicide. And that just really, hit me viscerally. So I really wanted to explore a family that is flawed, but trans and trying to shape this world differently, to create a world for their child that we don't have yet. And then also my own personal experiences with family, and also the experiences of my community with family. So I wanted this to feel like QT BIPOC folks could go in and experience the family they've always wanted, and could re-engage with this film over time, as I do myself sometimes, and I just need a little hug to feel a hug. So that was the inspiration, but also like a lot of intense research, just talking to community, but also engaging with there was that article too of like that white woman who did what was it called? I can't remember, but did the whole pink and blue themed like baby reveal, gender reveal party. Yes, all of that. So there was that in the culture too, in the zeitgeist. And that was also like, all right, I think I want to talk about this deeply. So yeah, those are the things that inspired me.
Inspiration is a funny thing. I would say, there were three very important filmmakers, like Uzo from Japan and his film Late Spring, which is why when I write what this movie is about, I say, like a late afternoon, I was kind of putting a spin on what he does, which is very much focusing on family life. And I wanted to make this as like almost like a letter, like a note to my own family. It was a film to really establish my voice, because before this, I was just trying to pick up style and pick up pace and themes, but this was more voice, which is funny because there's not any dialogue except for two that are overheard. So I love that. I also think that became a major inspiration, and my DP and I both did not communicate this with each other, but we both said it to each other on set, which was when Cher gets ready in Moonstruck before the opera is insanely vestiaire, and we definitely didn't think of it until we were on set, and I'm putting on like, it was, it's the scene for Jackie just finally doing what they need to do, and all I could think about was Cher in that like 1 minute moment of putting on a dress in a mirror. I mean, like literally, yeah. So Cher, I love you, but she already knows that. She's like my number one, but yes, Cher.
We'll see if we can. We'll see if we can invite her to the screening on Thursday.
I mean, let's just get her it, fly her it.
Valid reason.
Yes.
How has COVID affected you all as filmmakers over the last year and a half?
I think across the board for me and my writing partner and the films that we've been making, not only If I'm Good, but we made 2 features back to back in February and March, and we've done a couple other shorts since then. It's just about being more intentional with what we're doing, being more intentional in the stories that we're trying to tell, and how we construct our crews and our cast and the moments and how they interact with one another. It's required a lot more forethought for us in particular, as we have sort of explored the various projects that we've had going on over the past year.
Okay.
For me, I went to school for a medical-based degree. So when the pandemic came around, I took it very seriously. And our production has basically been shut down for, in-person events. So we've been taking advantage of writing new material. I've personally been writing some short stories and a novel, and just planning ahead and scoping out actors. And I have a list of about 50 actors who I am aware of that I will hire one day, but we just can't speak to them yet. So we're really just in the planning and creative phase. And like I said, I take it very seriously, and I know there's protocols, and I know a lot of people are having success operating in the world, but we're just kind of shifting for now to creation.
Is Cher one of those actors that you will eventually hire at some point?
No, but a lot of the local folks that probably me and Jono know in common, and perhaps himself, we know, we're aware of their work, and we're like, okay, they're on the list.
Yeah, COVID has been incredibly difficult all the way around for all of us. And I teach at the Savannah College of Art and Design, and side note, very proud moment for me. I was actually one of Maya's thesis advisors. And I'm incredibly proud to be in the same program as her, because I've never shared the screen with a student before, and it's a very humbling and awesome experience. But as the pandemic rolled around, I realized we have a big problem, which is, our students need to continue to shoot, but we have a pandemic. And so part of the impulse of the timing of doing Over My Dead Body, when I did, was, well, okay, we're going to open production with heavy protocols again in the fall of 2020. And the students are going to be looking to me as to how to do this successfully. So I thought, okay, why don't I try and make a film in the scope of the films that we tasked them to make, with exactly the resources and exactly the restrictions that we would be imposing upon them, which was an awesome, eye-opening experience. We were a SAG short film because our lead actor, SAG, and adhering to all of their protocols was a very tedious and worthy experience. So since then, we've been in post for a year, and it's given me a lot of time to write, which has been lovely.
Yeah, it's definitely great to be in here with Quinn. That's really cool and super. It's not something you would think to occur. But I mean, like he mentioned, it has drastically impacted the student filmmakers. It has drastically impacted, all of the community. But for me personally, it has expanded my creativity. And it has just allowed me to focus in on, okay, I don't see myself reflected. I don't see my friends reflected. I don't see the stories that I want to tell. So why don't I just make it? And since content is so needed presently, and COVID has it's been a negative thing for us, but I think on the indie side of things, it has helped us a lot, because the bigger networks are looking for smaller people and lower budgets and indie projects to kind of elevate. So I think this is a really unique time for us presently.
I'm like too traumatized to speak to it personally, but I want to just plug that IATSE, the union, is potentially going on strike pretty soon. So they have a petition going on right now to support over 60,000 workers who are not getting meal breaks and not getting enough adequate rest. So definitely just plugging for people anyone can sign the petition, go and support this so people can get paid better and get sleep and get meal breaks, because the corporations and the companies that do all of our networks and whatever have enough money to pay people.
Yeah, like second, third, fifth, that was honestly one of the most important things to say right now. The pandemic's been so strange. I don't know. I'm happy Vestirse was made, I myself was already in my own mental pandemic in a very toxic relationship for about like 4 years of my life. So like I was not allowing this to put me down. There was too many years of my life where I did not tell stories. I did not speak up. I did not want to share for many queer non-binary individuals who want to see themselves on screen. So no, I did not. I said no to the panini. I said no, and I went straight in. And honestly, I even was lucky enough to get one more in that stars a very, very prominent Brooklyn drag queen who I'm very proud to have her first time on screen. So, I mean, the pandemic has been interesting. It has made so many suffer. And I agree with Maya, like independent filmmakers are finding a moment right now. And it's such a strange time. It's like you're seeing one thing happen and you're just trying so hard and people are trying to open doors. So just like keep heads up and eyes focused, and hopefully we find a way out of this soon, you know.
I know that at least one person here has to jump off the call at 11 o'clock for a shoot. So for those who have to leave, thank you so much for your film. I look forward to meeting you. We look forward to having your film here, both in theater and streaming. So I want to start with another question. Can you talk about Atlanta as a filming location and how it is these days that you can be a filmmaker living in Atlanta and not have to move off to New York and LA to make this your craft?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a member of the board for Film Impact Georgia, which is obviously like a huge thing for them. And Madison and I are huge advocates of the idea that all of this can be homegrown. It can happen here in Atlanta. You don't have to be in New York. You don't have to be in LA. You can. I know that like many of the local filmmakers here shot in New York. They shot, you know, all across the nation. But here at Atlanta, you know, as we come together and continue to make really incredible content, both not only from, you know, a queer perspective, but from any perspective, and we continue to uplift that content and how good it is, it's going to put more eyes on us here in Atlanta, and it's going to bring more opportunities to all of us across the board. You know, Madison and I were able during the pandemic to close a deal to adapt a book for a major studio, and that's here. We did that in Atlanta. We didn't need to be in LA. We didn't need to be in New York. Contract signed actually Friday, so like that's done. So you can create those opportunities for yourself here at home. And I think that as you look at the overwhelming number of people moving to Atlanta every day to take part in what we have done on the ground floor, it speaks for itself. And as we continue to uplift that, it's only going to be better from there.
Excellent. Yeah, for myself, I love the Atlanta community. I love the folks I'm meeting, cast and crew. I've met cast and crew from the big films and who I text often, and I just love it. I had the opportunity to perhaps move out to LA for a different reason. And the whole idea of making a film in LA from the warm comfort of Atlanta, moving to LA, I have no interest in it. I really love the vibe. I love the folks, the locations, and I almost feel empowered by the folks I meet, and even hearing the stories of you folks on here. It's just a different energy about it that feeds into me, and I just love it. I love Atlanta.
Yeah, second all that. We lived in New York for 10 years before relocating, and one of the reasons we did relocate was because of the industry, but also because of the local filmmaker community. Our last short film played at a couple of festivals in Atlanta, Out on Film being one, and just the warmth of the community was so infectious that after we left, when we visited in 2017, we said, okay, how do we move here as quickly as possible? And within 9 months, we had relocated. I will just throw it out into the ether. I think that, you know, we need to look out for each other as filmmakers that are trying to make this our home base. And with UTA opening a base location in Atlanta, I mean, that's huge news. But I am all for any sort of advocacy that we can do upwardly. Just putting it out in the ether, how cool would it be if instead of getting an additional 10% on that tax incentive, by including the Peach logo, you got an extra 10% of over 50% of your above the line cast and crew were from Georgia. Things like that, where we can put pressure on the gatekeepers, the people with power, to reinvest into the local filmmaker community, because heaven forbid the tax incentive ever leaves, we're the ones who are going to be here to pick up the pieces and to continue all of the use of the infrastructure that's in place. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of that. Honestly, it being in Georgia is so interesting because, like you guys said, the community is so strong here, and you know it's not as competitive as New York. It's not as competitive as LA. It's great to just be able to see everyone grow here and to see everyone flourish. And you get different opportunities that you wouldn't if you were just a small fish in you know, a huge pond like out in LA. And I think for me it's just the accessibility of everything, and then the connections we're able to make, and the network we're able to just grow so quickly, whether you're on an indie set or whether you're on a union set.
I'm just going to validate everything everyone said. Just speaking to shooting here, I haven't had that experience, but I hope to.
Yeah, no, Atlanta, Georgia in itself. I mean, I love this state so much. It runs deep in my family. My mother lived here for so long. I've lived here for so long. I work here with Wussy Movie Club. I am everything in this community is very welcoming. And as someone who also understands Brooklyn, I don't necessarily understand LA. People want it to make it competitive. So I do want to speak on that. I do think here there is a sense of an understanding that everyone needs their moment to talk and speak, rather than one person dominating every talk and speak, which has been Hollywood for way too long. So I do think Atlanta is in it's the moment. I mean, it's the word I'm hearing when I'm not in Atlanta. All I hear about is Atlanta. I could be in Chicago. I could be in LA. I'm hearing Atlanta. So now is the moment, and it's very exciting. And I'm just happy it's happening, you know, for Georgia in itself as well.
I tried to, maybe 10 years ago, I tried to bring together local filmmakers for some sort of panel. And there were a few, there weren't that many. And nowadays there just are so many more. Everybody's out there doing great work. But my question to you all is this: you know, obviously I love seeing work coming from here. You know, as a film festival director, I love to be able to include, you know, original content in my festival. I think all of us like that in every city, but it's refreshing the fact that we can have a local shorts program and have it be so competitive. But would you say that our Atlanta LGBTQ filmmakers, is there one central umbrella where we're all working under, or are they all different places? And how do we get it so that everybody's working together, collaborating and joining forces, so that we can be, you know, a place that generates, you know, films and projects that are original and exclusive to this area?
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things where we talk about the community of it all, and how tight knit this community is. Everybody has their moment to shine. Everybody has a moment, you know, in the spotlight. Everybody's voice is heard. For me personally, I take stock of everyone. I look at what everyone's doing, and I make note of all the people that I want to collaborate with. And, you know, top of the line for people who, you know, identify within the queer community, because those are the stories that are important to me. Those are the stories that I want to tell, you know. And then my co-writer Madison, you know, for her, you know, the goal is to uplift fat voices, because we have the fat gap in the world where the people that you see on TV don't look like the people who are on TV, you know, or the people that are watching TV. So, you know, as we look at everything that we want to champion for, it's making sure that those voices are in the room. So trying to seek those people out and make it a personal goal for all of us to include more of those voices on our indie sets, because we have the capability to do so. You look at someone like Netflix or whomever who said like, oh, I cast this straight person in a gay role. And it's like, well, you know, you have the money to do a countrywide search to make sure that that person identifies as queer and exists in a queer role, but you're not doing that. But all of us on the indie level are. Okay. So, you know, it's just, for me, it's leading by example.
I think for me, this is really my first brush with the LGBTQ community, and my film, if and when you see it, or if you have seen it, doesn't really address the community. It just kind of exists in that world. So I'm going to kind of bow out in offering opinion about the community, since I'm very new to addressing it in the film world. But I definitely am aware of the strength of the filmmakers and what you all are doing, and it's wonderful to hear. So perhaps even this discussion will prompt me for something creative in the future.
Yeah, so in terms of a queer umbrella of content in Atlanta, I mean, I don't necessarily know of one. Granted, I'm still relatively new here, and I haven't engaged with the community as much as I would like, because I've been so invested in my position at SCAD and bringing up these new filmmakers. But that's kind of my New Year mantra, is to invest time into integrating into the community and getting to know the community more. But Jim, if what you're looking for is an umbrella for queer content, I mean, out on film, streaming platform anytime soon, get it going.
Yeah, we'd love to. I mean, we've been obviously this is a COVID year, and you know, people are watching in theaters, watching streaming, and people love streaming. I gotta say, I mean, people I mean, I'm a purist. I love seeing a movie on a big screen, you know, with other people, but people love streaming and having flexibility when they can watch it. And people, yeah, that is definitely opening up some possibilities and windows for us. We're very excited with that possibility.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but that sounds great.
No, I'm glad you did. And we've been talking.
Have you been busy?
The last thing I'll say is, you know, from the first gay short that I made now 6 years ago, where it felt novel and it felt different and it felt like, you know, edgy, to now it's like, you know, the commercial viability of queer voices is undeniable at this phase. And so although it is great to have a home base to come back to as queer filmmakers and queer content creators, it's also a breath of fresh air that content is more democratic in its consumption than I think it's ever been before.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of all of that, like people want to see themselves in what they're watching. And I think people are finally realizing that it's not just like two random gay people in, you know, in the back of your church somewhere that like you just don't talk about. It's a vast majority of our population that identifies as queer, identifies within the community. And it's important for us to just keep pumping out this content and just putting it in front of new eyes. And I think, you know, this film festival is fantastic. This is, you know, my first time being aware of all the LGBT film festivals that are out here, and I'm just overwhelmed with the amount that there is. And this entire platform that you guys have here, Jim, it's fantastic. And that there's so many films, and that there's so many more film festivals with even more films. I'm like, this is crazy. So hopefully we're able to band together, because Atlanta is a very LGBTQ friendly environment. So I think now we're probably going to see an influx of our content to shift towards that, and hopefully in the mainstream we'll see it as less of a novelty, and as less of a stereotype, and as less of you know, hitting somebody's quota. Yeah.
I can't speak to Atlanta specifically, but the importance of LGBTQ plus film festivals globally it's just vital. And I think that we need more people, more community in more spaces with more intersecting identities as possible. So I just think that having this space is just really, really important. I'm glad that we're all here together. Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, to put you back on the spot, Jim, I mean, honestly, a streaming platform out on film would do wonders. I mean, there is a streaming platform I know called The Future of Film is Female, is absolutely sublime. And I mean, she just picked up, did it. She was working at a very prominent theater in New York and left that theater, made this thing. And I think you could do it here. People know this name, people know this festival. This is a prominent city now, as we've all just keep talking about. And I think it could be wonders to just be like, yeah, like check in out on film or streaming this director, like, you know, this producer, what have you. I think we have a lot of queer festivals, and this is a conversation I had recently where it's funny when you get into a straight festival and they're like, here's a spotlight on queer films. And I'm like, yeah, a spotlight, thank you. More, please. So, you know, you're doing a lot, I think, for Atlanta specifically. Definitely there needs to be some kind of, you know, there's already unions and organizations, I guess more, or maybe one that is understanding of all, but streaming is what is winning, and it's worth looking into. That's, I guess, all I have to say on that.
Thank you. Okay, I've got one more quick question because I know y'all have lives, so I need to get to them. Tell us a little bit about the festival run for your respective films and the future for your individual film, where we can see it, or what your hopes are down the line.
So we are world premiering here at Out on Film. If I'm Good is making its world premiere, and the same day will be available to stream as a Deku original on a queer streaming platform, Deku.com. And then from there, it will live on Deku. So please come out and see If I'm Good in the local shorts night on Thursday, September 30th at 6:30. And then if you can't make it, you can log on to Eventive and watch it through Out on Film, or you can watch it at Deku.com on the same day. Forever.
Yeah, we are not world premiere. Thank you for having us. We initially only submitted to the big ones, Sundance, etc. Maybe a little optimistically, but then when that run kind of fizzled out, we did some of the smaller ones, and we've had an excellent run with some of the festivals, probably that's about it for what we're going to do as far as promoting it via festivals. But it definitely was a huge honor to come into Out on Film. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this Out on Film will be our film's Georgia premiere. We premiered at Outfest LA last month, and we're going to Austin Film Festival next month. That's all we know of at the moment, but you all know we're waiting to hear back from a bunch of festivals. Our sort of strategy in submitting to festivals was to go places where we can build momentum for the feature film that we're packaging, which is called By the Light of the Moon. And it's been about 4 years in development so far. We've got a script that we're pretty proud of and pleased with, that's doing well on the blacklist right now, that we're trying to attach folks to and get fundraising on. So that's hopefully what this film will be helping us do next.
The Traveler, not a world premiere, unfortunately, not a Georgia premiere. Well, I guess fortunately, but this is my sort of first festival run, I suppose you could say. It's been interesting with COVID, and majority of these film festivals are virtual. So the future of this project, we're just trying to see how far we can take it, just get our names out there and just meet as many people as we can, and just honestly get feedback and just get the response of the way that the audience likes it, the drawbacks, the takeaways, and just how we can improve. And we're just trying to keep going as much as we can.
Pink and Blue is, oh gosh, I forget how many months we are into the run, 5 or so. We've been playing all over the country, all over the globe. It's been really awesome. We were at Outfest, Black Star, Los Angeles Asian Pacific, and still going, Australia most recently, or right now. And we're about to meet with a distributor to try and get it on a streaming platform pretty soon. So hopefully the end of the run can get a little, fun love from being on a streaming platform. And then I just hope that this piece can get everyone who worked on it some more work. That's my goal, and that as many people in community can see it as possible.
Yeah, the goal is to get as many of the community to see it as possible, for sure. Vestirse has had a very interesting run. This is my second film to have a festival run, such as, as this one. I think the beginning was, it wasn't Inside Out, but Inside Out was a very strong moment of, I don't know, it was just, I don't know what it was about it, but I just was so excited that it began sort of there, and it's played around the world, it's played around the country, and it's finally now here in Georgia. This is the only festival in Georgia that I wanted to be in. So I'm so happy that you're having it, at this festival. And there is really, New Fest in New York is next, which is another favorite of mine. And they have a really great way of connecting to the community and streaming as well. So I'm very excited. Check, if you're going to miss out on Vestirse here in person on Thursday on the 30th, or virtually on Eventive through Atlanta Out on Film. But New Fest has it, and I am curious to see where it will go. I have plans to submit it online somewhere. I have a feeling it'll find a home somewhere. I think I overbooked myself in making the other short that I mentioned, and I had a lot of time on that, and that's been taking up a lot of my mind, because that's a bit more of a narrative with talking and understanding. So it took a bit of me, but Vestirse will have a home, and I'm sure you'll all know. Just check out handles and Instagrams, and you'll find us streaming somewhere.
That's great news. Congratulations to all of you. It has been such a pleasure talking to you all this morning. I look forward to the screening on Thursday, September 30th at 6:30 p.m. At the Midtown Arts Cinema. Of local shorts followed the next day by streaming for a week. Thank you all again. Congratulations on your film, and I've had a great time talking to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.